Get ready. Helena Hustle is now live. Here, we will showcase successful leaders in business, athletics, healthcare, and all things that make Helena a great place to live. Join Dr. Daniel Bridge, owner of Endurance Chiropractic, as he searches out amazing individuals who are making a tremendous difference in this place we call home. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired with the Helena Hustle podcast.
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me today on the podcast. Rachel, would you like to introduce your guys' selves and your business?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So I'm Rachael, and this is Alicia. We are the Houseworth Tangen group. We're a real estate team here in town. We are part of Century 21
Awesome.
Heritage Realty. Yeah.
Awesome. And then the closer you can get with the mic, the better it's going to sound.
Sure.
So, okay, well, thank you. I've enjoyed getting to know you guys. We did a couple of business spotlights together. That was fun. And I've just been impressed with really like your guys' dynamic to work together and stay friends. I think is really awesome. I look forward to diving into that. But I know you guys have your 2 truths and a lie ready. So let's kick that off.
Yeah.
So 2 truths and a lie. So the first one is that we are sisters.
That we like coffee. And that we have 3 kids each.
Okay. Gosh, I know you like coffee, and I think you're sisters, right? You don't have 3 kids each. That's the lie?
We had a feeling that would be the answer. No, we're sister-in-laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We stumped somebody. We're so proud.
Okay. So you do each have 3 kids?
We do each have 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ages?
So I have a 5-year-old, I have a 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Alicia?
Then I have a 16-year-old, just started driving.
Oh.
A 10-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Is that nice to have your 16-year-old driving?
It is, but it's a little nerve-wracking, like today
especially
with the
today.
snow. Yeah, but it is really helpful.
We just got like 12, 18 inches of snow today. First real snow of the year. So, yeah. Did you guys both grow up in Helena?
Yeah, so I grew up in Clancy, pretty much Helena.
Your dad's a chiropractor.
Yep, exactly.
Which is awesome.
Yep. A great chiropractor. And we are living in Helena now, but yeah, pretty much born and raised here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Alicia?
Yeah, we actually grew up next door to each other in Clancy. And then I moved away for college and then moved back to be back in Helena.
Were you guys friends as kids?
Yeah.
And there's like a year age difference or 2 years?
A year and a half, almost.
2 years.
2?
Okay.
Is it 2?
8, I don't know. I'm not going to say the year, I guess. Yeah, year and a half.
You kind of lose track after you're 30.
Yeah.
Like, how old I am. We actually we were best friends growing up. So I homeschooled. She went to Clancy, and we had a little stump in between our homes that we would leave little notes for each other every single day before we had texting or emailing. And yeah, you had a special way you had to fold the note. And it was, we did it every single day, like for, probably all of middle school. And then she went to high school.
I think I remember like standing by the stump sometimes in the rain, like, I don't have a note today. I'm so sad because it was before you had cell phones and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how we communicated when we were kids.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Whose idea was that?
I don't even know. I just know the neighbor that was in between our homes was always like watching us go to that stump and get her. Like Alicia got chased by a couple deer. It was just so funny. And they watched us do that for years.
So who's older?
Alicia.
So was that hard for you, Rachel, when Alicia went off to school?
Kinda, yeah. I felt a little bit. So we kind of had a choice to homeschool or not, but I was like, this is great. I can be in my sweatpants, drink coffee, you know. But yeah, I felt a little bit like my older siblings ended up going to school tan so I was like, oh, poor me. But yeah, it didn't last long. I felt pretty fortunate to be able to homeschool.
Yeah. When I was, I'm the third of 4. And I remember when my sister left, like it just felt so different and empty in the home.
For sure.
And sad,
yeah, there was definitely a period of that for sure. But then it's like a blip. And we were just talking, how long has it been since we graduated? Holy cow.
Right.
It goes so quick. So yeah,
It's nice too because both Rachel and I went out into the real world. You know what I mean? Like I went to Arizona and Washington, D.C., and Rachel went to Texas and Florida. Yeah. And so we got to experience life like outside of small town Helena. And then it just made us more appreciative of this community and want to come back to it.
Definitely.
So I love that we've been able to experience that, but also want to come home.
So let's tell us about Arizona and D.C.
Yeah. So I moved down there for college. I went to Arizona State University. I thought I was going to be a detective in the FBI and solve counterterrorism, you know, or be into that. And I worked for Homeland Security for about 10 years. And I was sent over to Capitol Hill in DC and worked there. And then relocated back to Helena in 2005.
When did you decide that wasn't for you?
You know, I think I still always thought it was going to be for me until I moved back to Helena and decided that I wanted to start a family and just really focus on the community here. And I think that's the moment that I was like, well, I might be interested in something else. I might like prefer the landscape and like the family life more than that.
Right.
Yeah. My dad was in law enforcement, so I got to see, you know, it's very time consuming on your family. Yeah.
So you moved back in 2005?
Yes.
After being gone for 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you went to Texas and where?
Yeah, so I moved away again because I homeschooled. I moved away. Do you need me to hold that? Okay.
It's heavy. Yeah.
I should have offered a long time ago. Sorry. So I moved away when I was 16. I went to, you know, kind of like a Peace Corps type thing.
Okay.
It was, you know, ministry based, but it was just an opportunity to kind of give back to others and support local communities down there. Really liked it. It was a good couple years of my life, and I started taking some college credits and stuff. Missed home. I came back home, and then one of the gals that I met in Texas, she was kind of going through a rough patch, so I ended up going to a brief stint in Florida. Did some schooling there. I was doing pre-nursing at the time. It wasn't my state. I love to vacation there, but I missed Montana. And like Alicia said, through my time away, I was very, very more appreciative and like, wow, well, I had all those things growing up. Like I had the outdoor space and I had the, you know, good friends in the community. And so I just think I didn't realize it until I moved away that I missed it, you know, missed my family. So yes, by trade, I actually have been a registered nurse for 11 years.
Oh, awesome.
Went to school, finished school for that. Never really thought I'd branch into real estate. It's such an interesting, you know, dynamic. Had a lot of people say, well, don't do that. I had an inkling and a desire to do it for a while.
Yeah.
My husband's a builder. And so just being kind of involved in, you know, seeing what he's doing. We bought our first home, we fixed it up, and we thought, you know, this could be something we could see ourselves doing. You know, we kind of work as a duo, you know, this is what I think, what do you think? And
Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Very small scale, perhaps, but yes, I'd love that. So, you know, after that even before that first house, I remember working in the hospital, and it would be like a housekeeper would be like, well, this is what kind of house I'm looking for. And I'm like, well, let me look on Zillow. I mean, this was years ago. I was fascinated and I was intrigued, and I just thought it was fun, and kind of listened to a lot of people say, don't do that. You're not going to be good, or there's too many or whatever. So 2 years, I kind of talked myself out of it. And then I was like, well, if I suck, I suck. If I sell maybe our own homes, then that's perfect. And so, yeah, here we are, kind of branched into that and gradually stepped out of nursing. I just got a little bit too busy to keep up in both fields, but still really appreciate all the community members that I've gotten to know. And those are great skills to have as a mom too, honestly. Just being a nurse, I feel like I've been so grateful for those things that I've learned.
Any examples?
So, you know, just when it comes to, should I take my kid to the hospital or something like that? How sick is my kid? You know, obviously I think a lot of moms do this. It's like a gut thing. Like you go with your gut and are you comfortable, whatnot. But, you know, I kind of know when it's time to go to the hospital is when, you know, your baby's having trouble breathing. But I feel like I know how to support my children, you know, if they're not needing any kind of emergency help or anything like that. Is that making sense?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just, you know, there's a lot of things you can do, but then I know when it's time to like go in. But I feel like having that piece of like, no, they're okay. Like they're just really whiny, or no, they're okay. They're just, you know, really just need to be, you know, sucked out or something like that.
It's scary when your kids get sick.
It's so scary. And I'm not saying I mean, there's definitely times where I'm like, you know, is this fine? And I run it by other moms. There's quite a community. I feel like once you have kids, that's like what you need is like a community of other parents, you know, but, yeah, it has helped me. And so I don't ever see that as like, you know, I think people change over time. You may start in one area and it may serve you later in other areas, but yeah.
Awesome. I want to go back to something you said. So I think that's a challenge for people when you have people in your ear, maybe being negative or telling you can't do something or you shouldn't do something. So, you know, that was in your head.
Yeah.
What helped you to say, I'm going to do this?
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting. I listened to that for a while, and I think that the part that was hard for me is it was like people that I even, you know, really trusted or would look to for advice, because they're like, you have this great job. Why would you have the great benefits. You only work this many days a week. But kind of like Alicia was talking about with the line of work she was going into. Yes, that is totally true. But there's also a lot that I was taking home, a lot of stressors that I would bring home and need to kind of get out or my shifts would never be, you know, just 12 hours.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of other things that I think I started processing and, you know, realizing, well, if I have a family, this is going to be, you know, something different on them. It's going to be hard on them. So finally getting past like, okay, I trust those people and their voice, but they don't, you know, what might be right for them may not be right for me.
Right.
And so choosing to kind of, you know, and I do think there was, you know, a faith element too, is just, you know, kind of listening to what I felt was right for me and my family. And it was so interesting because I, you know, signed up to take my real estate course, then found out I was like 7 weeks pregnant. So I was just all the timing of it. Had I waited any longer, I think would have been really hard to have a new baby. And, you know, so I do see that as like the time was right to, you know, if you feel it, to go for it, you know? So.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up if you didn't. But yeah, when, you know, God speaks to us and he speaks to us through us.
Totally.
Right? And if we can learn what that sounds like and what that means to us, then we can follow that a lot easier, even if maybe someone we trust is giving us something different. So
there's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
A lot of noise out there. And, you know, I think it is practicing, like listening to that, or maybe making that one, I feel like this might be right, but then later being like, well, shoot, that probably wasn't exactly what I was supposed to do. But, you know, kind of listening to that gut instinct, I think makes you better.
Absolutely.
Over time at listening to it.
Yeah. When we were thinking about coming here, it was during COVID.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chiropractors in Helena, and like same thing. A lot of people would tell us, don't you want to wait for things to settle down, or, you know, but we knew, like we had that gut feeling. I believe God was talking to us, and we've just been so happy to be here.
That's awesome.
Montana's awesome. I had kind of something similar. I went to school in Hawaii, loved it, surfed all the time. Great. I loved the sunshine, but man, I really missed Montana, and I missed the mountains. And moving back home, it was just like you feel like you're home when you come back.
Like you feel that peace,
right?
You know, is that where you met your wife, or did you meet your wife?
I met her in Utah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we were in the same apartment complex.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And she was on board to come to Montana?
Not at first. So she grew up in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And first we had talked about Hawaii, and it was exciting. And then when I'm like, hey, let's actually do this, she was like, whoa, I don't know about this. But then, you know, we went to school in Hawaii and school in St. Louis for chiropractic school. And then had the opportunity to come work with my dad in Shelby and learn from him. He's been a chiropractor for over 30 years.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that kind of like introduced her to Shelby, and then she got used to the perks of a small town. Because at first it's like, oh, there's not as much stuff to do. There's not as many restaurants to eat at. But then it's like, hey, there's not a long line at the post office and the person knows my name and different things like that. Becoming part of the community, which I know is a big part of your guys' business.
Yes, totally. I know when we have family visit from like, you know, a bigger community like California, they're like, you know, people at Costco. Right. It's like such a foreign concept. We're like, that's why we take forever at Costco, because we know everybody at Costco. To run into somebody. Yeah, I remember that when I was a kid when we got to Costco, and I was so annoyed going with my dad because he knew everybody, and I was just like, can we just get through here? I mean, picturing back then too, I was a kid. Costco was probably like the place to go to hang out.
Right. Funny.
Still is.
So who got into real estate first?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about going into business together when you were kids? Okay.
No.
So let's walk us through that. You were in it first. Where did you come along, Alicia?
Yeah. So Rachel's experience, because she and Tom like did the flipping homes, and he's a home builder, a great home builder, really well known for his trim and carpentry work, and then beautiful hardwood floors. So she was doing that with him, and then I own a property management company, and so I would notice that my investors, you know, because they were making money and they were successful, they wanted to continue to buy more properties. And so I actually became a real estate agent at the same firm as Rachel at Century 21, working for Parker and Julie, and we shared an office. And then
you and Rachel shared an office?
Yeah. So we just shared an office, but we were each our own individual agents. And then we kind of started, it's not talked about a lot, but there's like a safety element to real estate. Like when you're working the floor, it's called a floor shift on the weekend by yourself. Especially as a female, I've had some incidents that were really kind of alarming and concerning. And then also doing open houses by yourself, going to a home to tour it. And so we briefly started to talk about that. And then we both started to expand our families. And we realized that we can't be super mom and super wife and super real estate agent full time, because real estate is a full time job. Yeah, you work probably more nights and weekends than you do like you know, regular 8 to 5. And so we started talking about how we can work together to both have a family life and feel safe. And so that happened, I don't even know, 21?
Yeah, right when COVID was getting
I was 20
crazy.
then. Yeah, 2020.
Kind of just evolved. And I think already we were kind of moving into this, you know, we would ask each other, there are a lot of, yes, I know that this is right, this is what your contract states, but there's also gray areas like any profession. And so talking through, bouncing ideas off, I feel like we were doing that for a long time before. And then she'd be like, hey, do you want to come to this showing? Or hey, do you want to come see this? And so I feel like it kind of just evolved, you know, and then just gradually over time kind of talking through, well, what works best for our business and this and that. And it has been great, you know, while, you know, she can go out of town, I can be here and vice versa. I mean, just having someone be able to cover you. I have something come up with the kids. Can you handle this? You know, because a lot of I mean, we largely know all of our clients, people that we're going to meet at houses, you know, and stuff like that. But it just helps having somebody have your back.
Does it make those interactions more enjoyable being together? Like, for example, I sold alarms for 3 summers. And I know it's different, but when you're selling door to door, it's a lot of rejection, a lot of no's.
That's hard.
Yeah. And so sometimes I would buddy up with a friend who is a couple streets over, and we'd knock together. And it wasn't as productive because we wouldn't both get the sale. Right. But it was so much more enjoyable to like have someone there to have my back and like be with those interactions with me.
Totally.
And so is there some of that for you guys?
Yeah. I would say so too. And just even like to be able to talk through different things that are stressors, I would say that that's beneficial too. Where, you know, we have somebody on the job that we can talk to. So in a sense, I mean, you do take some of whatever home. We're still working on this transaction, or we're still negotiating whatever. But I would say it helps to have someone to kind of talk through those things, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And then too, I think Rachel and I are both very like type A, like we like to have our I's dotted and our T's crossed and everything, but also we both have a really different skill set. And so it's nice to be able to work together. And not every client is the same.
Yeah.
You know, some people need a little more hand holding, or need that really like feel good, touchy feeling. And so one of us can bring that, and then the other one is more like, you know, business sense, or we can shift into different roles. So we do a really good job of working together on that too.
Cool.
Yeah.
What have you guys learned through having a business, doing business in Helena?
It's a very small community in a good way. One of our like big missions is supporting local, which we kind of talked about with you because, you know, going around and offering for people to come in and spend some money at local businesses, that's a big deal to us. And then Rachel and I work with some nonprofits. We each have kind of our own like passion. Like mine is really with like vets, and I know you had Mary on your show for youth diabetes. So I've had type 1 diabetes for 25 years.
Wow.
And so like the diabetes and the veteran fundraisers and nonprofits are a big deal to me. And so being able to work in the community like that is rewarding. And Rachel also has some groups that she likes to work with.
Yeah. So I feel like mine is, right now, obviously, like my family is very much my, you know, I don't know where I'm giving, you know, I have little kids. But I do have a number of things that I, you know, I'm passionate about. And I would say like children and just kind of the state of the world and where we're at with, gosh, there's a lot of heaviness. And, you know, I feel like children are just, that my heart is really kind of where like the trafficking stuff goes. I know it's got deep really fast, but I just, you know, I'm looking for avenues and ways to try to, you know, help kids. And so it's actually, I would say a pretty early, you know, it's been on my heart for a long time. Probably just, you know, having my own children and just seeing the state of, you know, you read stories and you hear stuff on the news and it's just like, you know, things are happening that shouldn't. And so I don't know that I can say a lot about what I do for it yet because it's still early and I'm still looking for my mission and what I'm supposed to be doing to give. I do. And also, even just in a business sense, we like to give a lot. Like sometimes Alicia and I are like, whoa, we need to rein that in a little bit because we need to pay, you know, whatever. So sometimes it's to a fault probably, but we both also feel like you give and you get it back, you know, in so many other ways. And so, not to bounce around all over. There's just, there's multiple ways we just both have. And I think that also works with our dynamic because her and I are both, you know, gosh, you know, I want to get these guys a nice gift or whatever. And we're both 100% on board to, you know, just bless the people that are in our lives. Yeah. You know,
It blessed us.
It totally does. Yeah. So.
Do you homeschool?
So I actually am homeschooling right now. So, you know, it's pretty minor. I have a 5-year-old daughter, so we're doing kindergarten right now, and really didn't intend to homeschool. To be honest, I was not interested in it. It is like a lot of time, and I saw my mom do kind of, you know, the nights and the weekends and looking into all the different studies that we would go through. But for our family, it just seemed to work best for our dynamic. You know, she was actually a little bit too young for most of the like local schools that we private schools that we tried to apply her to. They said, you know, you need to be this age. And she was just already kind of looking to learn those things, you know, start, you know, letters and numbers and kind of learn some of that. And so we're like, well, we might as well we did preschool at home. We might as well just keep doing it. And I would say we actually have a lot of support. And so there's a big community. I'm not sure if you're aware of, there's a big homeschool community.
They have athletics and everything.
And just like groups that get together and teach different studies and different topics that maybe you're not great at, but there's a lot of a support for that. And there wasn't even that big of a community when there was some of a community, but there's a lot of people that homeschool. So anyways, my mom helps about a day a week. She'll help with the schooling. And then my friend Kelsey, she's amazing. She's watched my kids, great local family. She's watched all 3 of them since they were babies. She has 3. And they all like buddy up and play together. And so our 5-year-olds do school together and then our 2-year-olds play together. It's amazing. She's one of those people that can really do a lot, like having 6 kids at home would be, that would stress me out.
Oh yeah.
And she's just so amazing. And so I wouldn't say that I'm doing that alone. I feel like it's a group effort.
Do you intend to keep going down the line, or just take
right
it a day at a
now,
time?
I mean, we're kind of, we're taking it like a year at a time.
Yeah.
We're just going to kind of see how it goes. Right now, like I said, we're in town. Later, we're going to move to Clancy.
Okay.
And so it may not work for us to be at, one of the schools we were looking at in town. So we're just going to kind of see how it goes and see if I know it's not for everybody. But there's also some perks to be done quickly, in the morning, being able to go to park, or kind of, okay, you need to like take a break. There's some benefits to it.
Kids, I think, need that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but my daughter tells me she has 15 minutes to eat lunch. She says it's 20 minutes, and they tell them to stop 5 minutes early.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know if she's exaggerating, but, different kids need different things.
Totally.
And to be able to provide that, I mean, there's pros and cons, definitely. But,
for sure.
But to be able to, plus have the flexibility if you need to go out of town and you're not skipping school. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We public school, but I definitely see the beauty in homeschooling.
Pros and cons, like you said. Like, I think to anything, I mean, there is a little bit more on your plate, but it's also does allow you to be kind of flexible, which is where we're at in this season of life with little kids. It helps.
Absolutely.
So
I think favorite thing about real estate, right? Or being in real estate.
Yeah. And like, I guess the reason I'm asking this is I want you guys to plug maybe a special part of their business that you want to highlight, or that you want people to know about.
Yeah. So I think, kind of shining through in most of the interview, right? Our favorite thing is helping people. Because a home purchase is like the biggest purchase you're making in your life. And you may do it a couple times and you may do some investments, but it's still, it's a really difficult thing to go through, and it's very emotional. So I think walking people through the process and educating them, but also being like their strength and their comfort during the process is great. It's a really rewarding feeling. And then I think the cool thing about being a team is that we work both in like commercial and residential, and then we help investors, first-time home buyers, and then we really like educating people on pardon me, the lending process and like really just the whole process altogether. So I think that's something that we bring to the table, is really just a very diverse background, and we can help kind of in all areas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
totally. No, I agree. I would say something that's very satisfying is just knowing what somebody's looking for. The more we get to know them and kind of ask questions or tour a home with them, we kind of get a feel for them. You know, each person is different. They have their own quirks, like I want this or I don't want this or whatnot. And so it's so fun to be able to, you know, we talk a lot, we communicate with different, you know, agents and people in town. And so it's so fun to be able to find what people are looking for. And sometimes we do it before it's the market. I mean, it's just, it's like a big, you know, puzzle, and you're solving it. And it's satisfying. Like we, you know, have a number of families that kind of weren't able to, you know, purchase during COVID and stuff. We just put offer and after offer. And it's just so fun to be, you know, closing some of those, you know, loops and just being able to get people into a home. And, you know, I enjoy that part of it.
That's awesome.
It's super satisfying, you know?
And the deal's the same, so it's like...
Oh, they're all different. Yeah, we say that every time. We're like, we learn something new every single transaction, you know, which is awesome. Yeah, so it's very, I would say, like, I enjoy going to do my job every day, which is not something that everybody can say. You know, there's hard parts of every job for sure, but for the most part, I'm excited to be doing what I'm doing.
Well, and cool. It's obvious too, when I talk to both of you guys and our interactions that we've had and the stuff we've collaborated on, you got great energy, and that comes naturally when you enjoy what you're doing. So
I think so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
If somebody wanted to do business with you or reach out to you guys, how would they find you?
Yeah. Well, they could pick up the phone, walk into our office. We're at 1221 Echelon Place, right past kind of Target area. Great building, beautiful office. We're on socials. Yep, we have Instagram, we have a Facebook, and
Also our Tangen group.
Yeah.
C21.com. You got to say that.
Yeah,
Houseworth
say that
Tangen
again.
Group. Oh yeah, I forget that it doesn't pick up on you. The Houseworth Tangen Group. You can Google that, and there's a number of ways to reach out to us.
Houseworth Tangen Group at gmail.com.
It's Houseworth Tangen Group.c21 like century21.com.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And then did you want to share a phone number or anything?
Yeah, so 406-431-8870 is my
Perfect.
phone number. And honestly, whoever you get, we talk. It's a group dynamic. So reach out to one, you get both. Two for
Awesome.
one.
Yeah, good. Yeah, right.
Two is better
That's
than one.
valuable. So good. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for coming on Helena
Yes.
Hustle. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us today. Your space is so cute.
Oh,
and I love
thank
how
you.
it's decorated.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Helena Hustle podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Helena Hustle podcast.